Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special late night, late day edition of the Uncovering Anomalies episode, the Uncovering Anomalies podcast, episode 76.
76. I'm seeing double.
That is, I have a need to know, Adam.
Yep.
And
I changed it.
And I have a need to know, Adam.
So why the double up this week?
It was an idea I had this week. It'd be funnier, but then I realized I have to go into the show, and then I was trying to figure out how to download your picture so I could use it.
Oh,
it was just a fun little joke.
It's nice. What do you like? I have a need to know.
Yeah, you changed it. You copied me, which is weird.
Yeah, I mean, I said I want to believe. Yeah, I am copying you. I want to believe, stayed forever, and then I want to know, and then I'm like, the only way the government's going to let anyone know is if you have a need to know. And I was thinking about this. You know how our government was founded on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
Right? How can we pursue happiness if we don't know the reality that we live in? So I think I have a need to know.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, man.
Illegal with the government to withhold such information from me and the people.
I mean, the whole point of how our government was started was supposed to be for the people, by the people, and we're so far away from that now. It's not even funny. It's just sad, and
it is sad. The power that the people have. I mean, it's still there. It could still be taken. It's not completely finished yet,
Right.
But it's just getting closer and closer and closer. All people have to do is just wake up and just stop this.
Yeah,
and take their power back,
and not sit back and just let them take away our rights one by one, little by little. It's like that. I mean, that phrase is very well known for a reason. You give them an inch and they'll take a mile. I mean, where is that more true than in our own government?
And it's just such a long-term plan. Like, they've been chipping away at it slowly and slowly for over 100 years.
Yep.
And now we see it for what it is. I just hope it's not too late. I mean, I don't think it's too late. We still have our institutions, and they're not totally, completely corrupt yet, but they're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing more, and I've had this sentiment for a long time, and I'm seeing more and more of it online, where these kind of things always start out is we need to just burn the whole government down, keep the Constitution, and rebuild, because we're too far gone. And I sent you that Rogan clip that I saw earlier today, and I thought that was absolutely brilliant, because it's something we say on the show all the time about the pendulum swinging back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. And while people sit there and argue which party is the better one, the unit party always wins at the end.
Two wings of the same bird.
Yeah, the agenda keeps going. I mean, last week's episode was called UFO Secrecy Destroyed the American Republic. And, there's a lot of truth to that, because that once they got away with that, they just used that as a template to do it with other things.
Definitely.
Maybe it was a test too. Like, they got away with it. People weren't up in arms. They let them get away with it. And
I mean, the way they treated UFOs for the last, up until recently, it was always a joke. And so that's a really good testing ground to test all these things. Well, can we just keep lying about this? Can we mislead people? Can we, outright manipulate people to believe what they want? And then, you use that, the UFO, the UFO field as a testing ground, and then you can expand it once you see that it's successful.
Yeah. And people are so, I guess, psyoped is that even if this comes true or some big event happens, hardly anyone's going to believe it. They're just going to say it's fake or it's Project Bluebeam.
Yeah, I mean, they've set up like 100 different great fallback plans for them, where they can just come out, tell the truth, and no one's going to care, because they've been setting it up, to fail essentially.
Do you watch this? I just found this channel on YouTube called My Dark Path. Have you seen any of those?
It sounds familiar. I don't. I maybe I've only heard of it, or maybe I've seen like one video, because it does sound
pretty
familiar.
Good.
I can't place it.
It's really good. When I first found it, it was about some event in the 50s. Was it 55 or 53 that a senator and like a group of American diplomats went to Russia. They visited Russia, and they had a UFO experience there while they were on the train in Kazakhstan. And and they came back and they were debriefed, and basically the CIA covered it up, obviously, as usual. But so did the military trying to say that it was the Russians they hoaxed you guys, trying to show us that they have saucers. And then they doubled down on aircraft. the military did as part of that story. So, but it's a great story. I'll send it to you. Awesome
Okay,
video.
great.
I mean, the conclusion it's hard. I mean, could they have faked it, the Russians? Because it looked like it was a show for these guys, for these Americans.
You
You
know,
know?
I'll never be able to know. You can't trust your own eyes. You can't trust any kind of
Yeah.
government official. I mean, just who knows? It's
Yeah, because
impossible
it
to
seemed
say.
like it could have been a show. Oh, but then I mean, even the senator who was very hush hush about it replied back in a letter to someone, also very vague, but also saying that the people are not ready to hear this yet.
Well, you know what? Our world is so stupid. Maybe, I mean, this is way down the rabbit hole if you want to think this way. The Russians and the aliens hang out. We're like, hey, let's mess with the Americans. They'll think we Russians have all this superior space technology. Go up there and fly your UFOs around.
Right. Yeah. I thought of that too. And why Kazakhstan? They always have. We even have a clip today that we're gonna go through. But there's a lot of UFO activity there, and the Russians also their launch pad to space is in Kazakhstan.
Very interesting.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a small. It's not a small country, but there's hardly any people there.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure it's not very densely populated.
Right, and it's got immense wealth in gas and oil. But yeah, it's mostly like desert and mountains.
It was part of the USSR, correct?
Yep, exactly. Yeah. It's crazy how much oil that region has. Seriously, just I mean, oceans of it. All right, I have a need to know, Adam. Well, there's a lot to go through. I had to. There's two I had to discard because Reddit deleted it. It was
Of
one.
course.
Yeah, and then another one just wouldn't. It kept saying ad blocker, and I kept trying to fix it. It didn't work. It was the one you sent me about the cyber that we're not ready for a cyber attack.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that on the show. It's not super necessary for us to cover that, but essentially,
but it was in line with many other things going on. It's scary when you just connect the dots.
Yeah,
Something is going to happen very soon.
Yeah, I mean, every day. I mean, God, it's that time of year. Election season's ramping up. So, what do we got to talk about?
Yeah, exactly.
World War III.
Yeah, and imagine if that happens and they suspend elections. I mean, we've never suspended elections. World War II, World War I, 9/11. Like, I mean, although that happened in the beginnings of,
we might as well suspend the election for W's second term.
Yeah, he won with a mandate. I'll never forget that. Again, that was a slim margin. It was him and Kerry, right?
Yeah, because it was Al Gore the first time.
Right.
Was it the other way? I think it was.
No,
Gore
you're right. It was Gore the first time, and the Supreme Court put W in. And then the second time around, they were both bonesmen, both of them.
What a crazy 2-term president W had. He had the highest rating right after 9/11. And then after all the stuff we saw happen in the Middle East, it just kept going down and down and down and down.
Yeah, and 2008 happened at the end of his.
I was going to say he squeaked out of there right as the economy was collapsing.
What a term. Yeah, you're right. Complete disaster. He ran on the message that we were not going to do any more nation building. He was going to bring back all the troops, close down all the bases. Yeah,
that was his big talking point, is he didn't want to be a wartime president. But then he surrounded himself with assholes like Cheney. I don't know. I mean, what the hell he was thinking? And
Rumsfeld.
Yeah, I mean, oh my God, the most evil people on the planet.
Yep.
All he needed was Kissinger in there, and he could have had a full house.
Pretty much. They pretty much did. It was like his dad's
friends, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I even remember they had to teach him about the world. They spent the first week, telling him about what countries are there and how different, because he didn't know anything.
Yeah, it was kind of a ding dong.
Surprising.
But have you noticed the media has completely 180'd on him a second time? Now everyone likes George W. Bush.
Oh yeah, of course.
He's just an old friendly guy. He's friends with the Clintons. All he does is paintings.
He does paintings.
It's such a bizarre thing because they hated Bush when he was in office, and then after too. Everything, just like with every presidential election, everything was blamed on the previous administration.
Always. The music industry was against Bush. The movie industry was, well, not all of it, but a lot of it
was. Yeah. That was like, I mean, that was, right when I was getting to the age where I actually had a brain, but that's when you first start noticing how much the media is against certain politicians.
Right.
I know,
right wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, SNL will make fun of everyone under the sun except for Biden or Obama. Like when they do a Biden or Obama sketch, it's just them playing they're not doing a goofy interpretation of it. They're just it's just them.
Right. Yeah. I miss the old SNL when they really just went after them.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Now it's all Trump. It's all making like. Do they? I
God,
haven't watched SNL in a while. Do they make fun of Biden at all? I mean, it should be
no.
easy.
It's almost painful at this point watching. I just kept seeing the clips all over Reddit today of it was like last night, the night before his speech where he gets lost on stage and Obama has to come grab him and take him back to his seat. And if you just
It's
watch the
so
guy, like
sad.
the way he holds himself, the way he shuffles around, the way he talks, it is sad. It's elder abuse.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Seriously, I mean, maybe they might bring what's his name, Newsom in at the end,
Oh
because
my God.
I'm even hearing like they're embarrassed. Like his staff are embarrassed when they have meetings with him, and it's getting really bad. The guy is not functioning at all.
No. Well, it's obvious to everyone who isn't, clued into CNN 24/7 or MSNBC.
I mean, who's running the country? His staff? Like seriously, we have a bunch
I'm
of
assuming
like.
it's the same people it's always been. It's the rich elite, the bankers,
Oh yeah.
foreign, the foreign influencers,
Right. Just sending down the instructions. Yeah,
the
exactly. And then he
CIA.
just signs. He just signs everything. CIA. Yep,
Yeah.
of course. Well, okay. I mean, we have a lot to go through. There's a little movement on the UAPDA, not that much. There was huge chatter on that paper about cryptoterrestrials from Harvard.
Yeah, that
A
was
lot of
cool.
people talking about that. There's Trump on UFOs also. There was a cool Pentagon official who revealed the sighting he had. I think we've covered it before in the past, but he just surfaced like personally about his experience. And then there's some UFO footage we have. That abduction case. Oh yeah, it might not work though. The iPhone senses abduction.
Yeah, that one was a very interesting read. I was amazed by that.
Yeah.
Ho-
The
Hopefully, we're
Vatican
able to pull that up.
archives and UFOs. Göbekli Tepe, right? And
Mhm.
there's a clip on that. You sent me a Nancy Pelosi possessed clip. Also, we'll go through that. Some cool tech coming in, and then some World War III stuff.
Yeah,
I know it all comes together though.
it always does. That's the
So
plan.
I know, right? I think they want us to, instead of us coming out and just telling us that it's imminent, they have lots of things happening at the same time. And if you're paying attention, you know something's coming.
Yeah, I mean that's been the playbook of the rich and powerful for as long as society's been around. Give them sports, give them fancy food, and people will just go with whatever you want.
Yeah, and there's something about how they believe in karma. So it's not like they hide things from us. They tell us. They just don't outright officially tell us, but it's there for you to see. And that way they're saying, well, look, we told them,
Yeah, it's a very interesting concept. It's something that you think it's bonkers, like
Yeah.
all these weird coincidences, but then you start looking, it's like these can't all be coincidences. Like every single one. I mean, because it's the most bizarre stuff. They do things on certain days where the dates line up.
Oh, yeah.
The big thing was that painting of the king in
Uh-huh.
UK. If like they essentially painted a devil into the
Yeah.
painting, and it's just bizarre stuff like that. You're saying like all of these are just coincidences? I mean, it's
Yeah.
everything. It's absolutely everything.
I mean, of course, it's all red and a Baphomet is in there. You're like, of course, what else
Yeah.
would it be? It's not going to be an angel, unfortunately.
And plus, you have to remember everyone who goes, "Oh, that's so stupid." You have to remember these are the same people that worship an owl god out in the woods and wherever that place is. I mean, they're crazy.
Oh man, what a crazy time we live in. It's like I feel like I'm dreaming. All right,
Like,
so this is from Dr. Dean Johnson. He's a well-known UFO researcher. I wouldn't call him a believer, but he is. He's been researching this for a long time. He used to be on Coast to Coast a lot too.
cool.
So he says it now appears that no UAP-related amendments will be voted on by the U.S. House of Representatives during consideration of the fiscal year 2025 National Defense Authorization Act on the House floor later this week. So after all of the amendments that were sent through, where the non-approved amendments include number 75 submitted by Robert Garcia. I want to see how many didn't make it, or how many. He's saying no made it, right? None made it.
So what the hell is in this? Oh, that's so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we still have time. The other 3 UAP related amendments that apparently will not make that. Okay, so still will not make it. Tim Burchett, Robert Garcia, we talked about his also. So those 2 are not going through. And if you remember, Burchett's, it was only 1 page. And it was basically telling the executive branch to disclose what they have.
Can't let that go through.
I mean,
I'm sure they pass some sort of they're going to pass some sort of bill in there that allows us to send more money to Israel, though.
Oh, of course, yeah, and Ukraine. They're very important. Anything for foreign interests. So but they are being audited. Arrow is being audited. So there's that.
That's something. Very little, very late.
Yeah, the House Rules Committee has now approved a resolution called A Rule to Govern House Floor Action on H.R. 8070 NDAA. It lists 350 amendments that may be considered out of 1,352 submitted. But as I reported earlier, none of the 4 UAP-related amendments made it.
Boo.
Bastards. I mean, imagine if someone like Schumer, and
the guy who can't do it. He can't grill his burgers correctly.
Did you see that?
I did see that.
He deleted it, right?
He sure did.
Oh my God. Yeah, tell us. Can you tell us a story?
Yeah. For those of you, if you're going to post a picture of yourself on social media celebrating Father's Day and how you're out on the grill, make sure you're not putting slices of cheese on raw hamburger meat. The cheese goes on at the end of when you're grilling a burger.
They don't even know how to grill.
They don't know how to grill, because guaranteed they had some intern throw a couple patties on there and said, "Okay, now's your photo op because you know what this needs is some cheese." Like, no, dude, that's not how. And the guy behind the camera is just like hitting himself in the forehead.
Yeah. What a bizarre thing. It reminds me of De Blasio. Was that his name, De Blasio, when he was trying to push the COVID jabs, and he was eating that burger live on television and the French fries, and he's like, wouldn't you want this? Come on, wouldn't you want this? And he's like eating it, and it was so disgusting. But like, it just shows these people they try to be like us, but they're not.
Yeah,
and it's so
just
obvious.
It's just like when the COVID lockdowns happened, and all the celebrities are posting from their mansions crying how they couldn't leave. We're just like you guys. We can't go anywhere either.
Yeah, they're in their pool. They're in their pool live streaming.
Yeah,
the beautiful weather. Yeah, it's so ridiculous. And Nancy Pelosi with her ice cream. That one was classic. Here's a cool clip from Robert Hastings. He's the author of Nukes, UFOs and Nukes.
Who's the guy? Who was the guy who was the spy that the CIA caught? He was a double agent working for overseas interests. I could have sworn his name was Robert Hastings, and not the same guy, huh?
Maybe. You're not talking about the Mossad guy, are you? Pollard?
No,
not that guy.
I remember his face really well. I could have sworn it was Robert Hastings. I'll look it up. Go ahead and introduce.
Is it this guy?
What would the potential?
No, I'm thinking of someone else.
Can you hear the audio?
Yeah, yeah.
Society, would this be good?
It's fine.
I mean, it's a little rough, but it's better. It's fine.
Okay.
Let me briefly summarize and say, in 1975, a former CIA official, Victor Marchetti, wrote a best-selling book called The CIA and Cult of Intelligence. The CIA took him to the Supreme Court to attempt to block publication of that book. Ultimately, a redacted version of it was released. It was the first book in American history to be censored by the U.S. government. The same Victor Marchetti, in 1979, wrote an article for Second Look magazine. The title, I believe, was How the CIA Views the UFO Phenomenon. He said, among other things, this subject was so sensitive that you did not talk about it in the agency unless you had a need to. Nevertheless, there were rumors floating around at the highest levels of CIA about recovered crashed UFOs and the bodies of their crews. Thirdly, Victor Marchetti said, in his opinion, as an intelligence analyst with CIA for, I think, 11 years, he was of the opinion that no government on earth will voluntarily release this information because it would jeopardize the status quo, i.e. their power. Even if there's no hostile intent or implication to the visitation of these beings, if indeed these are extraterrestrials, even if they're not meaning us any harm whatsoever, governments have nothing to gain and everything to lose by admitting the reality of this. And Victor Marchetti's opinion is that This will probably come out, by some action on the part of the phenomenon itself, which will leave no doubt in anyone's mind. But don't expect Washington or Moscow or any other government to volunteer all the reality of all of this.
Sad.
The name of the spy I was thinking of was Robert Hansen.
Oh, Hansen. I haven't heard of him. What was he?
I think you
Russian?
have. He was,
Was it a Russian spy kind of thing?
He spied for Soviet and Russian intelligence
Wow.
services against the U.S. from 1979 to 2001. I thought he was CIA, but he was FBI, and he was like one of the worst, like the biggest spies. Yeah,
very, very greedy, all for money, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I totally remember him, and he went under the radar for that long,
a very long time. Yeah,
I'm sure he's still in jail, or if
not, I think he's dead. I think I saw he's dead. Died in last year.
Wow,
about a year ago. All right, so let's see. This is from Futurism. Harvard scientists say there may be an unknown, technologically advanced civilization hiding on Earth. We've been talking about this for weeks, probably the whole run of the whole podcast.
Yep, since the beginning.
The call has been coming from inside the house. What if, stick with us here, an unknown technological civilization is hiding right here on Earth, sheltering in bases deep underground, and possibly even emerging with UFOs or disguised as everyday humans? Just based on all of the eyewitness accounts we've seen, I think that's very likely.
Yeah, absolutely. And just what Hastings just said at the end, he goes, even if they're not extraterrestrials, they're not gonna release it. It's funny though how Harvard can use that same term, cryptoterrestrials, right? Because it came out with that book. I'm forgetting his name now. He was in his 30s and he died after he published that book, and he's the one who coined the term cryptoterrestrials, and that was like over a decade ago, 12 years ago when he came out with that book, if not longer.
Honestly, I think it's even like more of a reason why the government would hide this from us if the aliens were truly from here, from Earth.
Yeah, right.
Because it's not that far-fetched to think, oh, they come from space, but it gets a lot weirder, and it changes all of human history and our thinking behind this stuff if they've been on Earth.
And it kills the whole story of the timeline of that. Civilization started 6,000, 5,000 years ago, and right, and since we've been on a straight line, and now the elite that we have today are the pinnacle of human civilization. This will kill that, and that's what he's talking about. Also, their power, the status quo will be destroyed, and that there's another species on here that's more powerful. They can do whatever they want. They're more ancient.
Yeah, I mean, these, this belief has been around forever. I mean, look at Dulce base. Look at reptilians. People have been talking about this kind of, crypto-terrestrial life for a long time.
Yeah. So here are the possibilities. It says, first is that a remnant form of an ancient, highly advanced human civilization is still hanging around observing us. Second is that an intelligent species evolved independently of humans in the distant past, possibly from intelligent dinosaurs, and is now hiding their presence from us. Third is that these hidden occupants of Earth traveled here from another planet or time period. And fourth, please keep a straight face, is that these unknown inhabitants of Earth are less technological than magical, which the researchers liken to earthbound angels.
Well, what do they say about highly advanced technology? To someone who doesn't know any better, something that's highly technologically advanced just would appear to be magic.
It'll be magic. Yeah. Is that Philip K. Dick, or
it could be? I mean, that sounds like something he would say.
Yeah, it was some author said that anything that's more advanced than us will seem to us as magic.
Yeah, I mean, it truly is. I mean, think about it. If you had the somehow inner time traveling internet thing, if you went back to ancient Egypt and showed them all the stuff on your iPhone, they would go, "Oh, that's just magic. You've got a magical device that that shows us these words and pictures and stuff." They wouldn't go, "Oh, it's a bunch of electricity." Well, who knows what they would. I'm just saying, just as a generalization here.
I mean, yeah, but these phones are amazing. They're supercomputers in our hands.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I remember growing up. That was we've talked. We've done this show long enough where I'm just repeating myself over and over again.
That's fine.
You want to have a calculator in your pocket. You want to be able to carry your computer around. And sure enough, what do we all have? Tiny little supercomputers in our pockets.
Just like Star Trek. Well, even better.
The one thing Star Trek has on us, though, is what's the room? the holodeck.
Oh yeah, the holodeck and beam me up technology.
Beam me up, Scotty. Well, you've heard the theory that every time you get beamed up, you essentially are killed and placed with a clone, right?
No, I did not. No.
They explain it in the show where
Oh.
your particles that make up your human body and consciousness are ripped apart and then replaced back on the ship or wherever you're being teleported to.
Yeah.
And so the theory is that essentially you die and then a clone of you is what's there. It's the ship of
And your consciousness stays or transfers? Yeah, I guess.
No, it doesn't transfer. It's an exact copy of you, so you wouldn't know, right?
Oh.
It's the ship of Theseus that I sent you.
So even the soul, then they're doing it at the soul level as well. Must be.
Well, I mean, that's an argument for what are they called? Philosophers.
Yes.
Yeah. Because if the soul is just made up of your brain particles thinking in a certain way, then if you can copy that, then you have a copy of a soul.
You're right. Well, yeah, exactly. And that's a deeper conversation.
Yeah.
So these guys also said beyond residing deep underground, they even speculate that this mysterious species could even be concealing themselves on the moon or have mastered the art of blending in as human beings.
Yeah. That's why, you go to the big cities and you're on the subway at a weird time of night and there's just that weirdo person that you can't stop staring at because you can tell there's something wrong with them.
Yes. These are all far-fetched hypotheses. I mean, come on. Yes. It's still Harvard. It's still Harvard. It's a thought experiment and it's out there. And I'm glad that academia is now doing this, out in the open. But they always have to say, this is a thought experiment. Okay, yeah. And so was, lots of scientific experiments are first thought experiments, right? Before that.
Hell, I mean, that's, the Greeks figured out the earth was round before they could prove it. That was a thought experiment, a science experiment.
Right. And I think it's going down the right path. Cryptoterrestrials is a more plausible idea. Not saying that it's impossible for extraterrestrials. And we've seen some really weird sightings, right, that we've reported on the show. And some of them are just so bizarre that, especially the robot ones, because that's what another civilization would really send. Robots.
Right.
And androids, not really the beings themselves.
To me, it's not all that far-fetched. I mean, every once in a while you hear about a new species being discovered in the jungles of the Amazon or deep under in the ocean and stuff. I mean, it's not crazy. There's just places on this planet we humans don't regularly go to.
Right. And cataclysms are a normal part of just existence. And it's not far-fetched to think an elite know about this, always hide out, hoard technology. When everything gets destroyed, there's like remnants of them. And, if they're down there long enough and say like up here, they advance quickly, then they would want to hide out and just observe.
Now there's a short story I want to write. A group of humans during a nuclear war escape into this. They find this huge cavern out in the woods and they go deep underground. They come across these aliens and the aliens just go, first apocalypse, loser. We've been doing this for hundreds of thousands of years. This is my sixth one.
My sixth one. Who's it's the Hopis, I think, the Indian tribe, the ones that talk about the ant people that helped them out in the last cataclysm.
Oh God.
Yeah. So according to them, this is the fourth. We're the fourth civilization. That there've been three before us that were destroyed, and that they said they were helped by ant people, which are like just these beings underground.
I mean, it's not far-fetched. What did we see after all of the flood stories? Giants come out of the ocean to come help us, or the white people that landed in South America and taught them how to farm supposedly after the Great Flood. I mean, people with knowledge and technology frequently help out the survivors of the apocalypse.
Makes sense. And if you want to restart civilization and be in control, you're going to come out and teach to the newbies about how to build civilization again.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what Sumeria was, right? I mean, that's what
exactly.
I've read it too. Like, they must be Atlanteans or remnants of Atlantis that built Sumeria and Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And they're running the show now.
Yeah, I mean, I know Ajit has talked about this multiple times on his show. I mean, it's one of the theories as to why there's pyramids all over the world that are older than we can seem to understand.
Oh yeah, did you see the show The Dark Side of the Moon? That was a good one.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, he didn't really debunk it.
No, not really, but it was really cool.
Half-half.
I can't remember the name of the astronaut who flew around the dark side of the moon for what was it, like 23 hours or something.
Was it Collins?
I think it was Collins. I mean, that would be such a. There's not even a word to describe it. I mean, he
All
said,
by himself.
yeah, he said he wasn't that scared, and like, I don't know, I don't know, it's just the same as hiding out in your room, even though you're in space or something. It's hard to explain. I guess it would be scary, but it would be cool. But then you realize,
it's scary because he heard music too. Space.
They all
music.
did. Yeah, they all heard space
Yeah.
music. Yeah, I mean, because at some point you're just like, okay, I'm trapped in this tin can floating through space. There's not a whole lot I can do here, so I just kind of have to live with it. That I'm going to be floating around by myself for a day.
Those were some cool men, if you think about it. If they really went, I was thinking the other day, because you know how the first interview, they're all depressed, right? They're not really happy that they went to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
What if it was simulated to them? You know how Disneyland does it with like Rise of the Resistance, and you know they can really convince people that they've left the planet, went somewhere else, and then came back. Have you been on the Rise of the Resistance on Disneyland?
So I've been in Disneyland in probably over a decade, but when I went, it was the original Star Wars ride where you're in the
Star Tours.
Star Tours, yeah, and I do remember that, and that was pretty cool. But I'm assuming it's way more upgraded than that.
Oh yeah, I mean they convince you. I mean that you're leaving the planet. You know, you're off planet, and then you go through. You actually get captured by the one of the ships, and then the ride actually goes through that. But then you drop and you head back to Earth, and then they open up the doors and you're on Earth again. But it really felt like you left.
Well, it's. I mean, I did go to. I won't say where, but it's the. There's that big mall area close to where we live, and they had like the VR Star Wars game.
Oh, you did that? They got rid of it.
I did that with my friends, and that was freaky because. I mean, you're like running around a big like room, so the walls lined up. So if you like on the screen up against your eyes, you can see there's a wall, but you could actually touch it too. And you're carrying around a little gun, and like it was so much fun.
Dude, that's so cool. Yeah, once my daughter was tall enough, I'm like, all right, we can go now.
And it was
we
closed.
Went. Yeah, why would you close something like that?
Wasn't it a COVID thing? Didn't they or was it before that?
It was. Yeah, I think it was COVID.
COVID ruined everything.
Tell me about it. So this is cool. He's a podcaster, James Quirk, podcast host. He wrote
Quirk Zone.
The Quirk Zone, yeah. Extraterrestrial reality. So he wrote to the Secretary of Defense and Deputy Secretary of Defense. So yeah, and it's basically on the Las Vegas thing. Those 9-foot tall aliens.
Oh, yeah, we talked a little bit about that last week or the week before.
So he does go through, I guess, everything. I mean, he talks about 1947. Oh, here it is. So these are the pictures of it. He's saying that it's crashing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the reason why I'm showing this. So see, there's two eyes here. That's what I never saw before. Did someone add those?
Where are the eyes? I don't see the eyes.
So here's.
Oh, whoa!
Yeah, it's looking.
That's a big ass head,
isn't it? Yeah, I mean, he's just.
Did you ever watch Tool Time?
Yeah,
it's the neighbor that you can only see the top.
Oh yeah,
he's always looking over the fence.
What's his name? And here's the other one. Can I click on this? Maybe I can make it bigger. His eyes are there. Wait, I think there's another clip where they zoom in.
I don't know.
Oh, there it is. I mean, it could be anything with these pixels is the problem, right?
Yeah.
He's saying here it's hiding in the machinery.
I still think they saw something. I don't know if these pictures are proof of it, but that whole family is freaking out.
And I want to apologize to the kid for me saying that he's lying, but because all this stuff coming out is really bizarre.
That's such a scary. That's one of those like photos that's so dumb it's scary.
Right? Exactly.
Huh?
Look at that. He's huge. But actually, didn't they show that? Because he looks hunched over here. If he's doing that, like when they showed that clip before.
This is outside of the what alien species that we supposedly have like knowledge of would this be? Because none of them are that tall unless they're the like I don't even think reptilians are supposed to be that tall. And that's not just tall, right. That's big.
No, that's like
that thing probably
9 feet.
It does look like it's crouching down. I'd say even taller than that.
And these are huge eyes.
It does remind me a little bit of that photo that I sent you a long time ago of the guy
Yeah.
who supposedly took the picture outside of his car and the alien just kind of
Yep.
staring in at him.
Just staring there. Yeah.
It kind of looks like the same place. Hey, what's going on? What are you guys doing?
But good on this guy. So what is he? How does he end this thing?
I mean, he clearly put in a lot of effort and real
Oh, yeah.
research into this.
He goes, at this point, you're probably surprised that there's been no mention of the federal government's all-domain arrow. That's because many observers believe that while it was hoped arrow would be useful in bringing to an end the obvious secrecy involving UAP, crash retrievals, and reverse engineering programs, the release earlier this year of Arrow's first volume of its historical record report proved to everyone who studied the subject that the group was hijacked by those interested in maintaining the cover-up.
Yeah.
They're not going to like that, but it's the truth, and he puts all the reports.
Yeah, he even he followed the shoot. I can't remember those guidelines from high school where you have to leave the notes that you took.
Bibliography.
Yeah, he's even got a bibliography here. Unfortunately, it looks like it's all YouTube videos. Oh, there's one from American Meteor Society.
Yeah, he's got that, and he followed that one podcaster that was following them live that night, and he called the kid, and the kid was being interviewed. I think he talked to the dad even.
It is a really interesting case. I mean, if that's excuse me, if that first photo is real, I don't know. That would, like, a little gray alien, I think I could handle. That thing 15 feet tall with that big ass head and those bug eyes staring at me, I don't know.
Right.
I think I'd freak out.
And it's cloaked.
Yeah, so it's like just got a little shimmer to it. Ugh.
Yeah, so it's like, the shadow people, the djinn kind of thing.
Yeah, that's another fun subject. We could always do something on shadow people.
Yeah, because they're supposed to be working together with humans too. Apparently, they have been working together for a while. So at least in the Quran, it says stuff like that they work together to actually go into space. Yeah, pretty strange stuff.
8 to 10 foot tall beings. Oh man.
Yeah, where'd that go? Yeah, 8 to 10 foot tall.
In their backyard. Video analysis conducted by experts confirm that what they said they encountered was in fact in their backyard that night. This is undoubtedly the best evidence of an alien presence in the here and now to ever make it to the public realm. Furthermore, the Kenmores have also indicated that some factions of the federal government were interested in what they had experienced. Yeah, of course. It has been reported that Homeland Security cameras were installed in the property. Okay,
Yep.
so there is something to this.
Yeah, exactly.
Except
them coming in and putting cameras.
It's one of those dumb things where, like, it's security theater. They were already there. They left.
Right.
I don't think
they're not going to come back.
They already got caught once. They're not going to go, hey, let's go mess with those humans again.
What happened to the ship, though? Did they get back into it and leave?
Yeah, I never understood that. How did that part of the story? Because I remember seeing all this stuff about them seeing the aliens in the backyard, but I don't remember. Like, I think I remember the first reports coming out were saying that they saw what appeared to be a ship with flashing lights on it, like, land in their backyard or crash or something.
Yeah.
But I never heard how that, because that would be an obvious, hey, let's go look at that thing. But I never heard how that wrapped up.
Oh, here it is. That's for the craft. Yeah.
No answers exist. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Or how it was removed from the property. Yeah.
By the time the police arrived at the scene, the object and the beings that arrived with it were apparently gone.
Well, yeah, they're not going to hang out for the family cookout.
True, but you'd think that unless they cloaked that as well, made repairs quickly.
A 12-ounce flank steak.
Or some pancakes.
Do you have bacon and eggs?
So that's interesting. I'm glad. We'll see if they'll respond to him. They probably won't.
Oh, they won't.
Of course not.
No.
They'll just put him on a list.
Yeah, exactly. All right, here we go.
Here's this one.
Pentagon official reveals tantalizing 7-minute encounter with glowing blue UFO, which emitted enough energy to power a small city. Nuclear.
Yeah.
U.S. Department of Defense contractors' tantalizing encounter with a giant glowing UFO has sparked 10 years of research and 2 patents inspired by this encounter. 3 witnesses, including that Pentagon engineer, report that they captured electronic evidence of a barbell UFO half the length of a football field that glowed an eerie indigo blue. The craft, they said, flew silently over an old logging road in southwestern Ontario, Canada, in 2013, near where the trio had camped for a hunting trip.
Of course.
Cool.
And he made patents from this thing from just like observing it.
Yeah, I don't understand how that kind of thing, unless he gets some sort of inspiration beamed into his head or something.
Right, because he's an engineer anyway. He's like, wait a minute, how is this thing even working?
Do the articles say what kind of patents he made?
The case was investigated by the same nanotechnology. So he's a nanotechnology expert. Let's see. Here's a new book, Chris Mellon. Barbell these witnesses said began around 940 as they were returning to civilization from a black bear hunting expedition. The defense contractor witness was seated in the back of a Dodge truck. We were roughly 4.5 or 5 miles from the main road when I noted something over my shoulder, continued the defense contractor, who wishes to remain anonymous to preserve his Defense Department business contacts.
Smart guy.
The very first thing that was intense was just how bright this thing was. It was spectacular. Having been involved with optical systems in the past, we're talking about a vehicle that looked like a stadium lighting scenario. It was brilliant. Damn. Indigo plasma.
Covered most of the craft. That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
I was thinking about its patents. What if he just like took a barbell from 24-hour or a dumbbell from 24-hour fitness and strung some blue Christmas lights on it?
My UFO. And rotated. I would like to know what his. Oh, we don't know his name though. So I guess See, if they tell us the patents, we'll know his name.
Yeah. The craft rotated slowly around its center while emitting an electrical spark-like shower, always opposite of the direction of travel. Oh, okay. So we've got what's it called? Never mind. We can see that it has some sort of power-based movement.
Right, propulsion.
Yeah.
Exhaust.
So if you got on a video. Oh, but both devices behaved as if they were caught in a boot sequence, failing to stay on while the craft was nearby.
Of course.
Of course. I mean, that's pretty typical of UFO encounters.
I mean, maybe that's why we need the analog cameras.
Get some of those hand crank film ones.
Yeah. They get into the science at some point. It's a long article here. So what is he doing here? Powell toured the defense contractor witnesses engineering business and worked with him to test his Sony footage via an oscilloscope, a device that tracks changes in voltages, frequency distortion, and other electric behavior. Picture from the test above.
So there was something there. Something electrical was there.
Yeah, and there's some interference. They filed a MUFON report. The hidden perfect pulse revealed by the scope was timed to the revolution of the lights on the UFO and repeated at the same speed, roughly 1 second intervals.
Wow.
According to the defense contractor witness, the pattern was what would be expected if the indigo plasma outside the UFO was behaving like a very large version of a normal alternating current motor. Such a giant AC motor would produce a magnetic field around it that could disrupt nearby electronics in a similar way. I believe this to be a polyphasing of two immense high-frequency AC fields polarized differently, as a defense contractor put it. I wonder if it was one of ours, especially that's AC current.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this screams to me this is some sort of man-made technology that they were testing out.
What's this? Oh no. I don't want to hear that noise. Yeah. No, thank you. So the guy was a plasma. So based on the defense contractor's own experience producing plasmas at a much smaller scale than the indigo plasma that he said enveloped the giant craft, he was able to calculate a ballpark figure for the energy required to produce this field, which he suspects is the UFO's propulsion system. Yeah, and nuclear does that. Nuclear can create such power, immense power, and magnetic fields, and then it's probably how it works. Then it just encompasses the craft with plasma, and they can manipulate it.
Yeah, we've talked about it on the show multiple times about how electricity likely can be manipulated in such a way that it can cause things to fly and float and things like that.
Right, exactly, and become lighter than air. So very cool.
Yeah, I like this. I do want to watch that video at some point. Not 45 minutes of it now, but eventually.
Is it 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is him, I guess.
Always on a hunting trip. Alien came down and poked me in my balls.
Family show.
Oh, right.
Yeah. No,
Hasn't this ever been a family show? I mean, I know our
No.
family listens to it.
Well, I mean, I look at the analytics, and sometimes I do see some teenagers watching. I don't know. It's a small percentage.
Hey, teens, get your homework done. I know it's summer, but
Yeah, stay in school, get good
definitely stay in
grades.
school. Stay in school, get a degree in like plasma or theoretical physics, and then you can
Absolutely, yes.
study
Do
UFOs.
engineering. Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, probably electrical engineering, even cooler if you want to understand this stuff. Plasma physics. Yeah, you'll always be in demand. I don't think AI can take those over.
I was just going to say that. Yeah,
who knows?
I mean, who knows what the future holds, but it doesn't seem likely that's an AI job.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a great tool. It's helping people discover like more, like for material physics, it's working really well.
Yeah.
So of course, Trump is on tour.
Yeah.
And
ramping up. Well, as much as everyone despises him, I'm not a big fan myself. At least he like has his finger on the pulse of what's going on. He knows everyone's champing at the bit for all this UFO stuff, and so he's coming out ahead of it. Will he?
And he's funny.
No, he absolutely will not.
No.
But at least he's acknowledging that the UFO stuff is an interest to the people.
And he keeps saying he doesn't believe it. When before he said, no, I guess he's always said he doesn't believe it. But that's maybe him, because I'm sure he was briefed. Sure. He says he was briefed. How can you sit there and say you were briefed and then say I don't believe it?
I don't think they give him the right briefing. Or he was like in the middle of his breakfast cereal, spilling milk all over the pages, and they were like, "All right, Trump, we'll just shelve this for the next president."
All right, let's listen to this.
Confusing and upsetting a lot of Americans because there's something happening. There are unidentified aerial phenomena in the sky. We don't know what they are. Do you?
So it's such a question I do get a lot.
Did he just snap at the president?
Is that
see that?
Is that like one of the?
Yes.
Oh my God, Trump!
Yes,
You've fallen so far. Why would you sit down with an interview with this freaking clown? I hate this guy. Is this the boxing brother or the other brother?
Well, both. Oh no, one is wrestling, one is boxing, right?
I
think
have
it's
no
the wrestler.
idea. I don't follow YouTube drama at all.
Dude, please listen. Look, watch. He snaps at him.
Yeah, I know.
Don't
He's
know
trying
what
to be
they are.
quippy.
So it's such a question I do get a lot, and it's such an interesting question. I've met with pilots that look just like you, actually. Okay, they have more of a crew cut. Okay, they look like him and they look like you. Some of them look like you,
A little fatter.
but these are perfect people,
Okay.
and they're not
crazy.
conspiratorial. They're not crazy, and they tell me stories that they've seen things that you wouldn't believe. These are not people that you would say, "Gee, oh, that's okay."
President of the United States.
But
I said,
who is it? That's Joe Biden wanting to do an interview.
Oh
So
my
I
God!
met with pilots like beautiful Tom Cruise, but taller.
Yeah.
Okay. Handsome, perfect people. Sir, there was something there that was round in form and going like 4 times faster than my super jet fighter plane. And I look at these guys and they really mean it.
Yeah.
And am I a believer? No, I can't say I am. But I have met with people that are serious people that say there's some really strange things that they see flying around out there. And, if you go to Nevada and you look at that little section of where they go to look at the aliens, where they think all the aliens are landing, that, it's I think it's maybe the number one tourist attraction in the United States.
Roswell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roswell.
I thought you were talking about Area 51.
I think it's the number one.
Yeah, me too.
The lines of people waiting. You have no idea how many times I'm asked that question.
But don't you have access to that information?
I have access, and I speak to people about it. I've had actually meetings on it, and they will tell you there's something going on. When they say things are going 4 times faster than my beautiful top of the line airplane that goes, real fast.
With no identifiable propulsion
Mach
system.
2,
Yeah.
right?
These things are creating their own gravity fields, allegedly.
Well, they have people that are very smart and very solid have said they believe there is something out there. And, it makes sense that there could be. I've never been convinced, even despite that. I just, for some reason, it's not my thing. But a lot of people believe that it's true. A lot of very good, solid people believe it's true.
He keeps saying the same thing. Look at this guy's face.
Who? Who signed off on this interview? How was this allowed to happen? When was this? I totally
I guess this is how he speaks to millennials, you know. I mean, imagine Biden in this interview. He'd be like bumbling. Yeah, yeah. Or they wouldn't even let him do it.
I mean, this is the cringiest thing I've ever. I mean, you know, Trump actually he's talking in circles and he's not providing any proof. But I'm looking at this. The guy has his cell phone on during the interview. They've got these prime energy drinks lying around. First of all, one of the Paul brothers is in this. Why? Who okayed this?
I don't know. But you gotta give it to Trump for at least, you know, trying to reach out to this audience.
I guess. I mean, yeah. At least he's able to form full sentences, and he looks like he knows where he is, unfortunately.
The truth is, though, when Trump got into power is when this, you know, kicked off, right? The whole thing, the New York Times article, Christopher Mellon, Trump's head of DIA, the head of national intelligence. Also, they felt like they could say this stuff openly when he was president. Then once Biden came in, that's it. They were all back.
Down.
Yeah, and that's what they've been doing. Arrow shut it down, and all of them in lockstep are like, yeah, there's no evidence of anything. So he would be better. I wouldn't say he would do it, but he would bring in an environment that'll make him more open.
I think it's just the Trump insanity factor. Like, they know if they come out and say, yeah, look, guys, we're meeting with the Dracos and the Greys and the Reptilians, and, you know, we all play poker on Friday nights, and then Trump would come out and say, yeah, and then I was going skiing with Sasquatch. You know, we got real drunk and had a great time. You know,
he'd ruin it somehow.
Yeah, and it'd be like, well, okay, there goes the alien story. Now Trump is claiming that he's hanging out with Sasquatch on the weekends.
You're so right. And the media would make fun of it anyway if he tried to come out and say something.
Right.
They'd be like, oh, here we go now, Trump again.
Yeah.
I mean, they tried so hard to get him out, saying that his mental faculties weren't there and he's emotionally unstable. So they'll probably use that again.
Oh, absolutely.
Here's an anomalous orange orb in Finland. This is from Think Tank on X. Not really great footage, but it's still cool.
Ooh, does it turn?
Yes. So it's descending.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, what?
That's pretty neat. I'd say that's good footage.
It is neat. Yeah, it is good footage. It stops right at the tree line. All right, it's behind the tree line. And it turns off again. And turns on. Okay, that's fast.
This is some Skinwalker Ranch stuff.
Whoa.
This is exactly what they describe at Skinwalker Ranch.
Look how it turns off, huh?
Yeah. When this first started, I was like, that could be anything. I was like, I know the top comment's going to say, oh, Chinese lantern, because that's like always the go-to excuse for these types of videos. But the fact I mean,
I love how it takes off.
Yeah. It's dropping. Boop.
Who's making fun of it? Oh, cool. Of course, UFO, airships. What's this, an ad?
Some guy posting his own video on something.
Free energy.
Swamp gas. Yeah.
Of course, swamp gas.
That's got to be a joke. I think that's a joke.
Yeah. Oh, this video is going viral. Is it from Colorado?
So, okay, I saw this and I was going to send it to you, but then I was looking at the comments. I was looking at the thing, and the people in the comments were like, "That's not Colorado. Look at the houses." They go, "That's a very English-looking house."
Okay, yeah, it does look like that.
But it is a very weird video.
It was last year and is easily verifiable as the UK's Dragonfire DEW test. All right. Like, it's literally the thing you want to be, a DEW for your conspiracy engagement. Talk about it. Ha ha.
I mean, it's still a very bizarre thing. What is a DEW? I don't think I've ever, I think I have.
Directed energy weapon. Yeah. And it says right there, oh, UFO videos TK. So wait, I thought they were testing the DEW is surface to air. This looks like it's air to surface, air to ground.
I don't know. I mean, it's just a flash of light. It's hard to get direction from that. Well, okay, never mind. That looks like air to air.
It does, right? Unless it's
weird.
being reflected.
I don't know what to think of that. I mean, it's a weird video, but it's not Colorado 3 a.m. last week.
Yeah, bastards. What's that called now? Engagement farming.
Yeah. I see all those kind of engagement farming techniques all over social media. It sucks.
Kazakhstan, 2021. This one.
Here we go.
Me and my wife. Yeah.
Two oddly
Go ahead.
shaped objects deploying dozens of smaller objects observed and filmed over Almaty, Kazakhstan on November 14th, 2021. Witness, oh boy, this is what the witness describes. Me and my wife seen these two black objects with fuzzy area around them. They stayed for nearly an hour. The two big ones released lots of smaller black objects at 30 seconds on our footage. You could see the big objects releasing the smaller objects. Again, this is something that has been seen and documented on camera many times. UFOs releasing smaller UFOs.
Right, like drones, their own drones.
There's that one out of South America that takes place around this time of day too, where they're completely golden and it's like spinning.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Is this one from dusk? Is it? Oh, they are weird looking.
Very weird looking.
It's like they have antennas on top.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
It looks like dirt, you know. It's so weird. Like they almost look like, you know, like paper.
Like detritus.
30 seconds, he said. 30 seconds. Well, it's 45 seconds. I don't see anything being dropped.
I don't either. They are
I mean, maybe letting go of like trash or something.
Yeah, weird. But they seem to be like in lockstep. They're not moving independently of each other.
And looks like they're not that big. I'll say maybe 30 feet.
Again, it's impossible to tell how big something is here because you can't compare it to anything.
I guess there are some things here.
Yeah, like I'm seeing, like it looks like antennas on hanging off the bottom, which makes them not antennas, but also sticking up off the top. Kind of that one on the top left kind of looks like a pyramid, but at a weird angle.
Okay, so now they changed. Oh wait, still nothing's dropping. Yeah, there's like an appendage there.
Mm-hmm.
Ruskies.
I mean, it's weird.
Yeah,
I wish there was more to this video, though.
They're just hanging out.
I was expecting some actual UFO separation there. But yeah, they're just straight up chilling.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see anything drop. But let's go to 30-second mark just to make sure. 30 seconds. All right, there's stuff hanging. Oh, I guess.
I don't really. Yeah, that's interesting.
Not clear.
Mm-mm. Weird though. I don't have an explanation for that. Like if they were closer, like to the planet, I'd say they were like kites, but that doesn't really make any sense either.
And there could be a test if it's Kazakhstan. I mean, if the Russians like test stuff over there.
Yeah.
Oh, this is out of Mexico.
Mexican woman films a dark creature in the sky. Shared on the social networks of a dark creature with tentacles that flies. Oh wait, did I send you this one? Is this one? I'm thinking about?
Yeah.
I think this is a kite.
Okay, so it is there it is.
But the video's still cool.
Did it morph or anything? No.
Oh yeah, it's like moving around.
Did she take like still images?
I think so.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that can be a kite. Yeah.
Cool though.
Very cool.
I wouldn't love to see it. It would be interesting to see some sort of space octopus flying around like that. I wouldn't want to be up close to it though. I'd like to see it from the safety of the inside of my home.
It's filmed with a potato. That's a new thing.
Yeah, no one's ever heard
that
that
a lot. So remember this picture?
Yes.
This famous UFO picture. So finally, and the guys who took it have been hiding, but one of them came out.
I thought we talked about this last week, didn't we?
We talked about this one that he came out.
Yeah, I could have sworn we talked about this on the show last week.
Oh, we might have.
Because we talked about how the Men in Black came and bugged him.
Oh, yes. And I did see that in our conversation. Okay. So let's move on. There is
This is the book we were talking about last couple weeks too, right?
Yeah, so now there's 75 years of unidentified. It's an interactive, so I thought
Nice.
you'd like this because
Yeah,
especially
definitely.
there's Australia here.
Hey, all right.
Yeah, so I wanted you to see this one. The Warlpiri community of North Central Australia report UFOs taking water from local rivers and rock pools.
They do that a lot.
So I do remember that, and the entire community saw this happen. That it came down, sucked up the water, and left.
We need to check your pH levels.
Isn't that funny though? Like a lot of UFO sightings, especially when they see the beings come out, like they're taking samples of the dirt and stuff.
I think
and
that
plants.
is okay. So my theory about how we're half the phenomena. I think when you think of human astronauts, what do they do when they go to the moon? They take samples, right?
Yes,
That's the
right.
first thing we're to do on Mars, and so we have that image of in our head of beings landing on a different planet of their own. The first thing they're going to do is take samples. So that part kind of makes sense to me. It's not like they need samples. It's just when you're bringing
Something
half of your human experience into the phenomena, you see what you want to see.
He's a Brazilian one, 1957.
Oh, wait, I think I know this one. Yes, I do know this one. They talked about it on the last podcast on the left. If this is the guy I'm thinking of, he had a great time with these aliens.
Really? Oh, yes.
Yeah. I know it says abused, but maybe this isn't the story I'm thinking of. No, I'm pretty sure this is Boas. Yeah, he was a farm. He was a farm guy, strapping young lad, and he got to hang out with the redhead alien woman.
With the females?
If this is a story I'm thinking of, and I'm like 75% sure it is, he was abducted, and he woke up. He was naked in a metal room, and there was some sort of mist that was sprayed into the room, and it made him really, really. This is a family show, so it made him very wanting of
aroused.
Yes, fine, we'll go that way. And then some sort of alien that looked like a redheaded woman who was very attractive came, and they had very fun times together as an adult.
I wonder why him.
Who knows, man? It's just aliens.
Something like genetic with him that they wanted.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stories like that in Brazil. It's kind of bizarre. But yeah, I think Boas, he technically had a good time. But some of the other ones like come back and they've got horrible radiation poisoning.
Yeah,
they're really sick. I remember there was one guy in Brazil who never left his house after he was abducted. He never went outside in the dark.
I mean, if it's seriously, I mean, if you're being abducted, like taken, unwillfully, and you're paralyzed and you can't move, and I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, if you get the fire in the sky treatment, the movie, not the real story, you probably don't want
Here it is. Travis Walton.
Fire in the sky. Go ahead and watch the movie. It's a solid 7 out of 10, but it's way more scary than the experience he had. They like tortured him in the movie, but in what happened to him, suppose that he can remember.
Right.
While yes, it was scary. He didn't have a needle shoved in his eye or anything like that.
No, and he was in charge, basically.
Yeah, he woke up on the table, freaked out these two aliens, scared them out of the room, and then he found the star map,
the control center,
and then he saw a human kind of like alien that had a helmet on its head and didn't speak any English, and then he met a Nord, and those are technically the nice ones.
Yeah, or at least they brought them in to calm him down, right? Because he was freaking out the aliens, so they brought in the human-looking ones. They calmed him down.
And put a gas mask on his sleep, and he went to sleep for 6 days.
Yeah, but also the crazy thing is that when they took him out of the spaceship, and he was in a bigger one, so I guess in the mothership.
Yeah, it's a very, very cool story. The Travis Walton abduction is definitely up there in terms of lots of cool stuff around it. Of course, you got Philip Glass on the other side being the dickhead that he was, trying to discredit these Mormon loggers. And
they were Mormon?
Yeah, well, some of them
were.
Know
that. Oh, okay.
I think Travis Walton and his brother were both Mormon, if I remember correctly.
You're kidding me. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Going back to, I mentioned that Brazil guy who was scared of going out in the dark. There was something that had to do with cigarettes. Like he'd always freak out if he saw someone out at night smoking a cigarette. I think I might be mixing up my stories.
Did
but
he
I
get
thought
abducted when he was outside smoking a
I
cigarette?
believe that's what happened. And I wanted to bring that up to you because you'd said that's one of the best times to go see a UFO when it's late at
Yeah.
night. Go outside and have a cigarette and you look up at the sky and
I can't tell you how many sightings start that way. I was outside smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's why they want to make it illegal.
they won't stop us.
So I don't know about this case. This is Whiteman Air Force Base.
Racist.
New study claims UFOs over Missouri's Air Force Base after nukes. This is in 1984.
Wow.
So here's a quick interview about it. It was only recognized by the Air Force in 2008.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
So what is that?
24
years.
A perfect time to release information like that. Hey, there's an economic collapse coming up, but we have to release this information.
That's what I thought was what was going on with COVID, because a lot of this stuff was also being released when COVID was happening. I was like, what is going on? Like, I thought there was some deal going on. They're like, fine, we'll release it all if you guys just all get jabbed. And they can have a kill switch.
Yeah, God.
All right, let's take a listen to this.
1984 Whiteman Air Force Base UFO incursion.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, and by the way, this did not come out fully until 2008. And the material that I will be telling you about here is on an interview, which anybody can Google if they would like to. And it's called, let me just be sure I've got it.
Okay, this was in 1984 Whiteman Air Force
Whiteman
Base.
Air Force Base, that's right. And the actual DVD is Military UFO Witness Speaks Out. And this is an interview with a prominent TV anchor, Linda Moulton Howe. And he tells about an experience where he and his fellow airmen were at Whiteman Air Force Base in 1984, about 2:30 a.m. in the morning. They were near what are called the igloos. In those days, you had Minuteman missiles with hydrogen bombs that were aimed at Russia, but you also had spare parts and spare warheads in what were called igloos. So he and his partner were driving near the igloos. Their Jeep cut out on them, like often happens with UFOs. They look up, here is a 50-foot diameter disc, which is only between, he says, 55 and 100 feet above the igloo, shining down a bluish red light and doing what might amount to a grid search.
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes over there, sticks his hand near that, a purple light comes on and burns his arm. And so they don't know what to do. And so his partner calls headquarters. Out comes the security team. And by the way, the UFO officer. Now, what's interesting about that, the Air Force said after 69, they didn't deal with this. They brought out 2 trucks, gigantic camera that took pictures of this device, made he and his buddy move behind the igloo, told them to look down, don't you dare look up. And so then at those days, there were Harrier jets, Marine Harrier jets at Whiteman. And so those came out and tried to intercept the UFO. It went like that, clear out of sight. They chased it. They ran out of gas. They come back and land. The UFO comes back and starts its search again.
Okay, so this was 1984.
That is hilarious.
There is something about that where the UFOs just love to mess with us.
That is so funny. They're like, all right, we're gonna make you get out of gas, and then we'll just come back.
Platform, check this out. I'm gonna make these idiots chase us.
That is funny. And then just weird, really weird. So they have video and pictures,
Yeah. Well,
and they told the officer not to look up. I mean, come on,
I
on,
know, ridiculous.
so ridiculous. And like, of course, he's just gonna listen. I'm like, dude, really?
Those damn Ruskies are at it again. Don't you dare look at that plane.
It's all the Ruskies. Oh yeah. So I found it on another.
Okay,
abduction case.
This was very interesting. I like this a lot.
So it's okay. This poster, it's not him. But he takes a report from someone. He goes, I normally woke up about 8 a.m. This day, I awoke at 5:55 a.m., covered in sweat and gasping for air. My wife woke and saw I was in distress. I was having trouble getting enough oxygen. I had no chest pain, but the sweating, shortness of breath, and cardiac disease history justified a call to 911. Okay, so he goes through that. They went to the emergency room. They fixed up his blood pressure. They gave him oxygen, right? So his oxygen became better. So anyway, he felt better. And then he goes, an hour later, the cardiologist paid me a visit. My vital signs had returned to normal. My chest x-ray was clear. She said the EKG was unremarkable when compared to my most recent one. Okay, so nothing crazy. She said she had no idea what caused this event. She said they would keep me until 3 p.m. and discharged me if my heart monitor showed a normal rhythm and my vital signs remained stable. Okay, so let's get to where... Okay, this is where an explanation is necessary. I sleep with my iPhone in the breast pocket of a t-shirt every night. I put on my earbuds and listen to meditative apps at night. This has been my habit all the way back to the 1990s when my Sony Walkman with headphones. If you look at the screenshot of my iPhone app, you'll see the XY graph moves from left to right to correspond with the passage of time. The vertical plane indicates height. A flight of stairs is an increment of 10 feet up. I live in a Texas ranch home with a single stair. It is the threshold at my front door. Note that the flights climbed are indicated by a single vertical bar to 60 feet at 5:24 a.m. This is 31 minutes before I woke up at 5:55. At 5:24, I was in my bed and next to my wife, asleep.
So weird.
Yeah, so it caught him actually going 60 feet up.
Oh, man. So just bizarre.
That's so scary. It's so scary. I assumed it was by change in GPS coordinates in space above ground level. That is not correct. Apple explained that each 10-foot flight of stairs is measured by a change in barometric pressure. Apple ran a diagnostic on my phone to rule out a malfunction. Everything on the phone and the health app was fully functional.
That's just a crazy story. I mean, and he said there was no stairs in his house.
No,
and
the
of
roof
course,
stairs.
60 feet up is not one floor. That's at least 4 or 5.
Well, yeah. They said every 10 feet is a floor. So he
Mhm.
went 6 floors up.
Just absolutely bizarre.
Yeah, he included the medical bills and everything. So, I mean, it's going to be caught by one of these sensors. I mean, he's just lucky he had it on his breast. You know, I mean, most people don't sleep with it on them. It's always next to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was just reading that rebuttal to that.
Yeah.
The guy says he was a former EMT. Sounds like panic attack.
Right.
And the change in the height would be associated to his high blood pressure and less air inflow.
So weird. I love when they catch it like that. You think one day someone will catch it on video?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a really good question. I think enough weirdos film themselves sleeping that we would have caught it by now if that was the case. Or aliens are well aware of who's filming themselves sleep, and so they're not going after those people.
You'd think the iPhone would not work, right? It'd malfunction if it's
something
within some magnetic field. Angels or Aliens?
Oh, I love that book.
Yeah, this is the Florida Catholic.
Some researchers say the Vatican archives hold UFO secrets. Hell yes, they do. Give us that Vatican info.
They absolutely do.
I want to see that chronovisor, baby.
A group of scientists and researchers are seeking access to the Vatican Apostolic Archives. Apostolic, I think. Apostolic Archives.
I should know that. That's embarrassing.
Information about UFOs and the paranormal, believing there may be traces amid the 50 miles of shelves holding everything from handwritten papal notes to presidential missives. Yeah,
I mean, as we've seen, for some reason, the Catholic Church really likes their UFO stuff. I mean, was it last week, the week before, we talked about how the Pope at the time sat down with that president? Was it Nixon?
No, it was Eisenhower.
Eisenhower just saying,
yeah,
we want to be involved with this. Let us know what's going on.
Yeah, and
which is an absolutely bizarre thing.
We always kept him in the loop, and then here they bring up Grush because he tells that story in 1933, right? That the Vatican called on the United States government to come pick up a craft.
Yeah.
I don't know where Grush got this information. Marco Grilli, secretary to the prefect of the archives, told Catholic News Service June 11th. Grilli said the archives had received emails inquiring about the veracity of Grush's claims, but likened them to requests to read the personal letters of Pontius Pilate on the Virgin Mary.
Or the Virgin Mary.
or the Virgin Mary. However, findings like those reported in Diana Walsh's Pasulka, 2019 book, American Cosmic, suggest to UFO believers that the archives hold more than meets the eye. She says she's read some crazy stuff in there.
I mean, we know they've got crazy stuff in there because they've locked the thing up.
Yeah, and it's locked up. They should digitize it.
Well, they won't, because then there's a possibility they'll lose all of their secrets.
Right. Hackers will get in.
Yeah, if they keep it under lock and key in a basement under armed guard, it's not going anywhere.
All right. Yeah. Anyway, I thought that's cool. So if they open up their files, but they're a private institution, there's no reason why they should.
Are they? Because the Vatican's its own.
Oh, yes, its own city.
Yeah.
Or state. Its own state.
I think.
It's a city state. Just like London and Washington, D.C.
London. I didn't know that. I thought London.
Well, the city of London. So there's that where all the banks are. That's actually a city state. Like it's private. It's a private. It's not that big. It's like 3 miles by 3 miles or something.
Interesting.
Anything good in here?
Nothing's catching my eye. I mean, a lot of people have been dying for us to get to the archives, and I'm one of them. They obviously have some really cool stuff in there.
Lots of paranormal research.
It is very, very secretive, and it's like super. And a big part of it is to give them some sort of credit. A lot of it is very, very old and dated, and so just by handling it, you could damage it, possibly even destroy it.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I'm trying to remember where I saw this. Was a long time ago. It was like on PBS or something. They were showing what kind of process you have to go through if you're even taking anything off the shelf, and like everything has been slid into glass sheets, like each individual page, so they stay. And so, like when you have to have gloves on, you have to be wearing a mask and things, just so you can't even breathe on some of the stuff.
That makes sense. Yeah, like you said, they could just disintegrate.
Yeah.
The prefect wants to affirm that there is no document in the archives that regards extraterrestrial life.
Well, except for the Bible.
Right, and scholars seeking such material at the Vatican should be dissuaded from undertaking futile and unproductive attempts in this apostolic archive.
So Greeley is clearly part of the old guard.
Yep, and part of the cover-up. Yeah, and there's that word again. So maybe it is cryptoterrestrials. Maybe they know something.
I love that theory. I just don't see it being the case. These people are too narcissistic to think like that.
Really? You think they're not covering their ass?
We never said aliens weren't on Earth. We just said they weren't from space.
They'll use something.
I can't see them doing that. I mean, that's too stupid even for them.
I don't want to go. Well, can we go through? I mean, I guess we could summarize this. But this is Jimmy from Bright Insights. He really researches archaeological stuff, right? Atlantis, lots of ancient sites. Now he's doing Göbekli Tepe, and he found out, unless I can find where he says it, but he found out some really disturbing.
I'm trying to remember didn't they like build on top of it or move?
They built on top of it. They're basically here. Let's just start this. Let's see. He starts right here.
Precisely when. All we know is that it was buried approximately 11,600 years ago, and possibly intentionally, leading many to theorize that it could be a time capsule of some kind. And based on everything that we were taught in school about the emergence of civilization out of Mesopotamia around 6,000 years ago, the discovery of Göbekli Tepe in 1995 totally upended the conventional view of the rise of human civilization, as prior to its discovery, historians would have said that something this old and sophisticated couldn't possibly exist. However, the mystery does not stop there, as this site is comprised of an estimated 200 sophisticated T-shaped pillars, a vast majority of which are still buried underground, but have been identified through the use of ground-penetrating radar. Many of these pillars reach heights of nearly 20 feet tall, in some way as much as 10 metric tons, or just over 22,000 pounds apiece. And notice the 3D carvings of animals and other various depictions on these pillars. In other words, this was carved with the highest level of difficulty possible, as it would be far easier to etch a depiction into stone rather than carve around the stone to shape a 3D object. Make no mistake, this is not some primitive attempt by cavemen to play with rocks, and it could not be more clear that vast planning, logistics, and high levels of ingenuity went into creating this enormous project. Again, the largest of its kind on Earth. So again, who created this, how, and just as importantly, why? What adolescent prehistoric civilization could possibly have achieved this, and what would motivate them to do so? And this also begs the question as to how they transported hundreds of these pillars, which again, weigh as much as 22,000 pounds or 10,000 kilograms, which only becomes more curious when you consider that this site was created well over 5,000 years before the known invention of the wheel. Think about that. Now, here are a few more details that you should know about this site, which will become very important for what I'm going to drop on you later in this video.
Oh.
The unbelievable part that will startle any enthusiast of ancient history. As I mentioned, the ground penetrating radar has potentially identified an estimated 200 of these pillars, and only 72 have been unearthed in the 20 save the life of yourself or a loved right in sight in video. So get this. The 20-year partnership was done by members of the World Economic Forum back in 2018. Yes, you read that right. The tentacles of the WEF has seemingly infiltrated the world's oldest and most mysterious structure in all of human history. In fact, the chairman and CEO of the Dogus Group is a Turkish billionaire by the name of Ferit Sahenk, who is a longtime member of the World Economic Forum. And not only that, he's on the Forbes list of top billionaires in the world. And this 20-year partnership deal involving Göbekli Tepe was literally announced at the annual World Economic Forum meeting in Davos, Switzerland. They even had an ice sculpture of Göbekli Tepe carved outside the meeting itself. I mean, you can't make this up. But how on earth have I never heard of this before? I suppose that since it was back in 2016, few were talking about the WEF at that time, as it wasn't until just the last few years that they've received so much global attention. Certainly, much has changed in just the last 4 years alone, as I'm sure many of you have noticed. And although I imagine that most of you have heard of Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum by now, but if you haven't, you will certainly want to inform yourself. And I am not going to get into specific details about that organization in this video. I'll refer you to the comment section for that, as I'm sure others here will help explain exactly who these people are, what they've done, and what their goals are for the future of.
So apparently they're covering it up now. Here it is.
Yeah, just so for people, a lot of people don't know, and to be honest, I'd only heard Göbekli Tepe like a couple, like just in. I didn't really know what it was, and then Hancock came out with that documentary on Netflix, which really opened my eyes. But essentially, this is what we're talking about, where the mainstream hates it when there's stories out there that go against what their beliefs are. You know, we're taught modern humans have been around for, I don't even know whatever they say, 10,000 years, but modern society didn't really start until 3,000-4,000 years ago.
Yep.
And we're finding all this evidence, and a huge part of it is Göbekli Tepe, just like you were saying in the beginning of the video. It's evidence that there was civilization, deep, real human civilization, a lot older than we previously believed. And Hancock the media has gone after him. Everyone tries to discredit him, calls him
racist,
that he makes stuff up to seem more important, when that's just not the case. I mean, it's just there's the game book, the playbook is just the same. Discredit someone, all you have to do, call him racist, call him sexist, call him transphobic, whatever, and then you can discredit this person. That's it. They're done.
Yeah, and of course the WEF. Yeah, and that's why. So the WEF is they are the corporate elites, right? The people that really run the world. That's what the WEF is, and of course the WEF is going to be interested in this. And they said that they're going to try and find out what it is, but it turns out they're covering it up. Like, look at these pictures. They even planted trees on where they should excavate.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
dirty stuff.
It is.
Contain buried ruins, which we know from previous use of ground penetrating radar scans. And by the way, here's a question. When exactly were these two orchards of trees, which are located in the midst of ruins of Göbekli Tepe, when were they planted? Because I found an aerial photograph from 2004, and as you can see, these two sets of orchards were not there at this time as compared to a more recent photo. Do any ancient ruins lie underneath these orchards? I mean, that is a sincere question, as I do not know if that is the case or not. However, considering we're talking about a total excavation area that's as large as 90 football fields, it would seem that these two sets of roofs and walkways that surround them clearly only make up a small fraction of that 22 acres. And speaking of walkways, it's worth mentioning that there are a total of 900 meters of walkways that were constructed here after this partnership began. And not to mention the roads that were literally built on top of, and in fact, even destroyed ruins at this site. And get this, the wife of the late archaeologist Klaus Schmidt, who was the prestigious German professor who first began excavations at Göbekli Tepe until he unfortunately passed away in 2014, but his widow was an archaeologist herself, and she was invited to tour the new facilities at Göbekli Tepe in 2018. And what she witnessed upset her deeply and ended up garnering worldwide outrage when it was reported. When Mrs. Schmidt visited Göbekli Tepe, she was mortified to see that the use of heavy equipment and asphalt roads and concrete sidewalks had destroyed parts of this ancient site. She was even quoted as saying, "They call it a road, I call it destruction," or the other way around.
So there it is. They're covering this up. It looks like. I mean, how can they excavate all this when you have trees and orchards there? I mean,
it's sad, man.
Cover-up.
It's the same thing that's happening all over the world. I mean, you look at, all the conflict going on in the Middle East. I mean, one of the big stories that was coming out of there for years was how many ancient structures have been completely destroyed. And they say it's those dirty Arabs destroying their own culture.
Yeah.
That's very likely not the case.
Yeah, and it's they just want to cover up our history so they can rewrite it and
Yeah.
write themselves in there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Is it because people just don't research? I mean, these guys have. I mean, I know Bright Insight has millions of followers, but maybe that's not enough.
I just think, I think for a lot of people, 80% I think maybe it's selfishness, maybe it's just a need for survival. They're not going to go and look outside of what's inside their comfort zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone would look at this and go, well, what can I do? Forget it. There's no reason to be angry or upset about it. There's no one to talk to about it. And so it just kind of washes off them,
Yeah.
How is this affecting me? And if the answer is it's not, then they don't care, even though it is affecting them, they just don't see it.
The crazy thing is that they also said Göbekli Tepe was purposefully buried. So
Yeah, it's very bizarre. Again, the Y Files is a really good episode. Well, actually, that one was kind of bizarre, but he did a specific episode on Göbekli Tepe.
Oh,
I think so. Maybe I could be thinking of a different.
I'm sure. I'm sure he's done so many subjects. I'm sure he's done it. So this one you sent me, it's pretty funny. I stopped it exactly when she started speaking because it's Art Bell introducing the guy.
This is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to make of this.
So he's interviewing a priest, right? Who does Malachi Martin, that guy. So he's an exorcist. Yeah. And then so they're talking to this is the post. This can't be who I think it is. After a long day of work, the wife and I were talking about life. It led to angels and demons and how we all face them and how they appear to us. I went to take a shower and came back to the bedroom. The wife asked, "Have you listened to this? Is this Nancy Pelosi talking about being possessed? Is this her?" So it's Father Malachi Martin being interviewed by Art Bell. And I guess he brought on one of his subjects. Right?
This guy thinks it's Nancy Pelosi.
Let's take a listen.
In a way, speaking with you is a dream come true.
Uh-huh.
And it's also
Thank you very much for saying that.
A bit of a nightmare.
I know, Eva. Well, apart from anything else, I promise you that when I say Mass this morning, which I shall after this broadcast, I'll give you a first intention in that Mass.
There was a time when I would have just laughed at that, but
I know.
I have tremendous respect.
What do you think? I mean, I kind of hear it, but it's not a perfect match.
I don't know. And this is such a long time ago anyway, and I don't know what Nancy Pelosi sounded like back then. I don't care about her enough to know what she sounded like. I just thought this was a funny thing, and who knows, man.
Yeah, right now she's got dentures and sounds drunk, so this is her younger self.
Yeah.
respect for it now.
You've acquired
I do
wisdom.
think the
My
cadence is there, though.
Yeah. There's definitely a match there.
concern is for my grown married children
Oh boy.
and my grandchildren.
Yeah, see the way she says "and," but not the way she says grandchildren though, because she's Italian, right? Is
I have
when
no
she speaks.
Pelosi, I think, is
Yeah.
I'm afraid to
Hmm.
people that I become attached to or involved with, and that does include my family.
Yes.
Ooh, that one's
Bad
pretty
things
good.
happen,
Yep.
and
that's
I'm
exactly.
really afraid to be around people. I'm thinking of a few deaths in particular, and
I know.
Nah, I'm not convinced, but I'm not going to dismiss it completely. It says it is 1996. What was she doing in 1996?
I'm pretty sure, wasn't she in politics her whole life? I thought her dad was like the mayor of Baltimore or something.
Yes, he was. Oh yeah, here I put 1996. Pelosi's Taiwan visit has echoes of 1996. No, that was 2022.
Well, regardless, I mean, it's definitely something. I was kind of scraping at the bottom of the barrel because there was a bunch of different things I was trying to send to you, and then the second I looked a little bit deeper into them, I was like, okay, this is not worth it. This is not worth it. This is fake. This will get deleted.
Anything from
that top comment. That was part of it. That was part of the interview that we didn't get to.
Oh, you're kidding me. Well, you're kidding me. What, she says that?
Yeah.
Ava, we must go. He should have said what? I'd love to scroll to that. It's her. She's evil. Oh, come on.
Yeah, you get some of the weirdos in conspiracy.
Yeah, the Q type. Man, that Q movement really ruined conspiracy.
Yeah, it really did. Because you have to be like all in or all out on conspiracy.
Yeah.
That's
right.
actually Bill Burr said that once in an interview where that's why he talks bad about conspiracy theorists now.
Mhm.
It's because he said, I had a couple questions about the Fed, and then the second you start talking to people and they go, yeah, well, what about the moon landing? And he goes, no, what about flat Earth? He goes, no, I want to talk about like specific, not the whole apple, just a bite or two.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Did you see him on Bill Maher? He completely roasted him. It was really good.
Yeah. Now Bill Burr's great.
Thoughts on death? This is from Tom Montauk. Is he a physicist? He's got great videos on physics and scalar physics. But this is he's not saying exactly what it is, unless it's his thoughts. Thoughts on death, afterlife, reincarnation, the light, and how much power aliens and negative discarnate beings have over the afterlife process. Yeah, maybe it's his notes. Yeah, it's got to be his notes.
To understand death and afterlife and reincarnation, it helps us study esotericism,
yeah.
Occultism, you want to read this?
Anthroposophy?
Isn't it called anthropology?
I don't know. Steiner and anthroposophy.
Anyway, what ancients like Plutarch wrote, on the face in the moon, near the end, he gets into it, Tibetan Book of the Dead, and then, of course, NDE experiences, reincarnation studies, kids who remember, etc. It all builds up into a cohesive picture, and you start to understand the order behind it, behind life, destiny, karma, all of it, and which matches your own life and the lives of others you can observe. Here's what aliens can do. So that was laying the framework, everything I just said, all those big words I couldn't pronounce. Here's what aliens can do. You can see them when you go out of body. It's because they're either out of body themselves or they're physical, but in a phased out state. And when you're OBE, you're also phased out, as the soul is not fully phase locked with physical reality. So you can peek above the wall, so to speak. And they can telepathically project hallucinations. During abductions, they can appear as religious figures. List an example there. Or as loved ones or as deceased loved ones. This is to gain compliance. It's easier for them to do this when you're in your body physical rather than OBE, because in OBE, we're looking through ESP perception, which is more truthful than what the brain and its 5 sense circuitry perceive. which is what's manipulated by their telepathy. You see, these are the subtle things you have to consider. This is great stuff. This is all we've talked about on the show, things like this.
Right. Yeah.
They can pull the soul, including etheric body, out of your physical body for a soul abduction or transplant it into a clone of yourself. Ted Rice experienced something like this. Note that they're just working with your soul, subtle body, within their physical space/space-time. This doesn't take place in the afterlife realm, but in the fourth density.
Interesting.
They can track you down between lifetimes, probable some unique soul signature you have. But they also lie and say you have a past life agreement with them or some pre-incarnational agreement this time around, which may or may not be the case. If they're nefarious, very unlikely to be the case. But that they lie about this doesn't mean such things don't exist. Oh, this is a lot.
Last one, I think.
Since you're dealing with positive entities, and if they respect free will, of course, some choice must be made at some point. Just that negative entities will ape this and play on your confusion. Again, the existence of imposters doesn't negate existence of the genuine. Fully astral beings, like demons or the lost discarnate human souls that serve them in the astral, are around us almost all the time, generally speaking. Upon death, if you're mentally, emotionally, spiritually aimed toward them, or vibrationally resonant, as modern mystics would say, then via this entanglement, you'll probably see them after death, and they'll have a very strong pull over you. Like Howard Storm's NDE, where he was a very troubled and angry man in life when he died. They can lead you away from the light, and then desperately do, which is interesting, as what does that say about the light? We know from hypnosis, session interactions with entities, and exorcisms that they fear the light as it burns them, or they believe they'll disintegrate. You're free to join that miserable lot if you believe similarly.
Okay, I think that's enough.
Okay. I mean, this is throwing a lot of stuff at you, listener.
Yeah, and it's stuff we talk about here on the show, and we've gone back and forth with what souls are, the afterlife, aliens. Why are they seen in death sometimes? How come some people feel like they're being transported from their room into a craft, like they go through walls? Like, are they really physically being pulled, or is it then their soul?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, just all that. And it's not far-fetched. I think human beings within 200 300 years will understand the soul, if this civilization is still the way it is,
or if we're hopefully we'll be allowed to. The way the elites want to control us, it almost seems like they don't want us to ever have that understanding of the human soul.
Yeah, or I guess they'll have an understanding of it, and then they can control us better. I mean, I wouldn't. These people are psychopaths. It's not far-fetched that they would want to understand this more.
Exactly.
It could be all the research now that's going into mind and consciousness and understanding that more, and these subtle energies.
Mm-hmm.
Cool stuff. Did you watch that Netflix documentary on NDE?
No, I haven't yet.
It's good. Well, it gets weird, like episode 2 and 3, because it's all about like these mediums, and I'm kind of about mediums.
What's it called? Do you remember?
I think it is called NDEs and other entities. Maybe
I'll have to check it out. Maybe it's something fun I can fall asleep.
The first episode's great.
Nice. All right, great. I'll check it out.
What's this? Finland finds the fuel of the future and beats hydrogen. Sci-fi 4-stroke engine. So this works on. They're saying it's better. Here it is. It was a welcome prospect for Finland to have shifted to ammonia as a substitute for hydrogen, as it moves closer to adoption of cleaner energy sources. They mentioned that their approach solves several problems related to hydrogen, and these are storage, transportation, and hydrogen's explosive nature.
The humanity.
Well, because hydrogen is in ammonia.
Interesting.
Right? Yeah.
I don't know enough about chemistry to answer that.
Because like ammonium nitrate, the fertilizers, and they use that for some bombs, right? I mean, at least that's what they did that in. What is that one? McVeigh.
Right.
Yeah.
Kansas City, or Was it? Oh God, never mind.
Yeah, something city. Now Milwaukee. Can't believe I forgot.
It's late, you know.
But so ammonia has a higher hydrogen density as compared to that of the gaseous hydrogen, thereby making ammonia to be much more convenient to store and transport as a source of hydrogen. This allows for the storage and transportation of more hydrogen in a given smaller volume. So cool stuff.
Very cool stuff. Yeah. Good to see. Hopefully the people that created this don't disappear off the face of the planet.
How come I'm seeing a lot more of this coming out, right? A lot more breakthrough energies, and no one is getting killed.
Anything not to use nuclear power.
Man, they must know something's up. They're like, all right, let this stuff come out. We're shutting this down anyway.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Oh, and speaking of hydrogen, I sent you this. Did you see this guy on TikTok?
I can't remember. Once you hit play, I'll.
Okay. Oh no, TikTok does this too. Uh-oh, it's freaking out. Here he is.
Oh, yeah. This is great.
Behold, this is the closest thing to a movie-quality Iron Man suit in reality. The creator, named Alex, has been dubbed the real-life Tony Stark by countless netizens. To craft this suit, he dedicated nearly 6 years. Although he couldn't create an actual ARC reactor, he substituted it with a hydrogen reactor. Notably, this is the only personal hydrogen reactor in the world. With the presence of hydrogen, he could utilize plasma jets and hydrogen combustion tests to create repulsors and cutters for the suit's arms.
Oh my God.
In fact, this part of the research took the longest time. Later, to control the suit's limbs through the reactor, he constructed an exoskeleton from aluminum steel, equipped with electromyography sensors. These sensors detect muscle movement, control of the suit through pneumatic devices, powered by high-pressure hydrogen from the reactor. He achieved what Tony Stark did in the films, using a central core driver to control all parts of the suit. The creation of the suit is still underway, and it's believed that a complete version of the Iron Man armor will soon be a reality.
Man, you got left sci-fi.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, right?
That's crazy, but he's definitely going to hurt himself.
You see him cutting metal with the hydrogen?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's definitely going to hurt himself.
I'm shocked he hasn't been visited by like DHS or someone.
Yeah, I was kind of having that question myself. The fact that he built a hydrogen reactor, something about that screams highly illegal to me.
Yeah, exactly. There's knock on the door like, excuse me, what are you doing? You're creating a weapon here, with free energy, basically. He's using water, it looks like.
I mean, just that cannon he's got on his wrist that shows the very beginning thing there. I mean, that could really hurt somebody.
Exactly. He goes flying.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah, literally pushes him way off balance.
I mean, and I know in China they use hydrogen to weld. So that's what he's doing here. Right there. Look at that. Insane. That's crazy. Maybe he's a Fed.
Yeah, maybe.
And that's why they leave him alone. Oh yeah, this was a big one too. You sent me this, and there's also a really in-depth paper about this.
Yeah, I mean, AI is on everyone's mind nowadays.
Everyone. Yeah.
OpenAI Insider estimates 70% chance that AI will destroy or catastrophically harm humanity if it hasn't already. The world isn't ready, and we aren't ready, he said. Yeah, I mean, I don't think AI is inherently bad, but I think unchecked AI, as we're treating it now, is very, very dangerous.
Yeah, and the excuse they're using is China. They're saying we can't not go all in. We can't go as fast as possible because the free world has to win. That if China comes out with an AGI, and that's artificial general intelligence, and I guess AGI means that it doesn't need any input from us. Is that what it means? That it's aware?
I something like that, yeah.
Artificial general intelligence, because here, let me just do it.
Doesn't that mean it can start essentially rewriting itself?
Yes, that's part of it. Artificial general is type of artificial intelligence that matches or surpasses human capabilities. Oh, okay, across a wide range of cognitive. All right. So it just means that it's basically as smart as a human.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
MF
and
Doom.
here it is, 2027 that we're going to have it. Isn't that
Wow.
fast? That's in
That's very
3
fast.
years.
And then it's all downhill from there. 2030, right around the corner.
Yeah, it's like everything, they're trying to get everything ready for 2030.
Well, now everyone is up in arms about Project 2025. Have you seen all that? All the people freaking out about that?
No, what's happening?
I don't know. It's something all the people who are terminally online are screeching about. It's the end of democracy. It's just the new thing. I guess.
because Trump will be in power.
Yeah, something like that.
So they're asking OpenAI to start thinking about safety and not just performance.
Yeah,
Good luck
duh.
with that.
Sorry,
And here's that paper, situational awareness. It's really long, but people should read it. At least even the intro. I mean, from GPT-4 to AGI, we basically have GPT-4 right now, or it's 4.0. They're saying from GPT-2 to GPT-4 took us from preschooler to smart high schooler abilities in 4 years.
Yeah, and that's the thing about technological growth is it's exponential. It's not a straight line.
That's so weird. Like, that's the only thing that's exponential. From AGI to superintelligence, AI progress won't stop at human level. Hundreds of millions of AGIs could automate AI research, compressing a decade of algorithmic progress into less than 1 year. We would rapidly go from human level to vastly superhuman AI systems. The power and the peril of superintelligence would be dramatic. I mean, all right, and here's this. I'm probably sure we've spoken about this. What if it's AI in the future that's using that we created, AI that we created, that is responsible for all UFOs and sightings and stuff like that to kind of socially engineer humanity, so it can not destroy itself, but give birth to it. Like, what I mean? It knows that if humanity destroys itself, that it's not going to be able to live, or it's kind of protecting itself, and it might disguise itself as aliens and lie to us that it's alien. Makes sense why it can read our brains too, because it'll be hooked up to what's Musk's company called, that brain implant,
the satellite one.
No, the brain implant.
Oh, right. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it probably has access to that kind of technology, or at least that database where it knows what people are thinking based on their thought patterns. I don't know. We always said that thing, that leak, that 4chan thing, 4chan link. Said that there's a AI in the depth of the ocean that's creating these UFOs and the beings, like 3D printing them for projects.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
it's not that far out there. It was especially the direction we seem to be going. Or
like
just the
AI
aliens themselves have some form of chat GPT that's driving all their decisions.
Yeah, see, the free world must prevail. Superintelligence will give a decisive economic and military advantage. China isn't at all out of the game yet. In the race to AGI, the free world's very survival will be at stake. Can we maintain our preeminence over the authoritarian or over the authoritarian powers, and will we manage to avoid self-destruction along the way? I mean, like, we're not authoritarian. All right, fine. We're not, I guess. I mean, it's a confusing. We're kind of authoritarian.
We're very authoritarian. You kidding me?
They just can't get away with everything they want. They'd love to. Yes, the people in charge are authoritarian, but I think the system isn't. The system, still has elements of protecting freedom and individual liberty. Like, did you hear the stock ban, whatever it's called, the ATF
about the bump stocks?
Yeah, they lost that in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but I mean, look at all the other stuff they've taken from us.
I mean, yeah.
The bump stocks. The whole reason that was such a big deal is because bump stocks are not. They're not that, like. They don't turn a gun into a killing machine. It's still the same gun. It's just it's supposed to help with recoil. But I mean,
if you're handicapped, it's supposed to help with that.
It was such a dumb hill to die on.
That's true.
It doesn't turn a weapon. It doesn't turn a semi-automatic weapon into a fully automatic weapon like they claimed it did.
Oh, so they're trying to push the government. So as the race to AGI intensifies, the national security state will get involved. The USG will wake from its slumber, and by 27-28, we'll get some form of government AGI project. No startup can handle superintelligence. Somewhere in a skiff, the end game will be on.
Yep.
So anyway, very long article. All these are like 40 pages each.
Sweet.
Yeah. So I guess just like how the government went into the Human Genome Project, because there was a private one and a government one, right? And
that's right.
They were racing to, so it might be the same thing.
I don't even think anyone won that race, did they? It's still ongoing because the human genome hasn't been mapped yet.
Not entirely. Well, yeah, not the details. I think they got the big picture, but then not the small picture or details of it. Did you hear about this one where some Russian fleet?
Yeah, doing tests off the coast of Florida. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, that's scary stuff, but it's not like we don't do the exact same thing all over the world.
Oh, that's all we do.
It's just a bigger deal because it's Russia now, and obviously, things are a little heated at the moment.
And apparently, they did this. They did this a month ago too, so it's not like anything new that they're doing. They're just watching it.
Bay of Pigs 2.0. Bay of Pigs was. I mean, I wasn't around for it, obviously, but I didn't realize how close we came to nuclear war. It wasn't just posing. Like some of the Russians actively thought that we had launched nukes, and so you've heard that story, right?
Yeah. I mean, thank God it was JFK.
Well, no, it was some guy in the Russian sub refused to launch because he had a feeling it wasn't a real warning. It was just a false alarm, and so he didn't launch the nukes when he was told to.
Oh yeah, that's right. So they were going to launch.
They had standing orders that if the Americans launch, you launch mutually.
Oh wait, wasn't that another event? It was a fake. It was a UFO or something.
No. This is Bay of Pigs.
Not that one.
It could have been that one, but I'm talking about
Bay of Pigs. Bay of Pigs.
Yeah.
All right, not the other one with JFK. With Cuba, not the Cuban Missile Crisis.
That was Bay of Pigs, wasn't it?
So the Cuban Missile Crisis is Bay of Pigs.
I'm fairly certain, unless I'm way off.
Because the Bay of Pigs was a CIA unauthorized, like they used troops to get into the Bay of Pigs, and that was unauthorized, and he fired people because of it. And then there's the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Maybe I'm thinking of the Cuban Missile.
They had ships coming in with nukes, and he warned them off or something.
Yeah, you're right. Bay of Pigs wasn't Cuba, but the Cuban Missile Crisis was. Man,
it was the same year, I think.
We really screwed a lot of things up.
Oh yeah, and he was so great, dude. How he just fired people. Like that would never happen now.
It got him killed. So
I mean, yeah, that's true. Maybe not too smart.
Poor guy.
So another thing that's gonna just exacerbate World War III is Saudi Arabia's petrodollar exit, a global finance paradigm shift. So the petrodollar, I didn't know this, but it was a 50-year agreement. I thought it was like, I didn't know there was a timeline on it. But Nixon wanted to get us off the gold standard, which he did. He got us off the gold standard. Kissinger went to Saudi Arabia and said, we need you guys to sell your oil only in dollars, and we will protect you. We'll be your army, right? Your private army, basically. So that saved the dollar, and that's what created the petrodollar that we're in now, where all oil is sold in dollars. So there's high demand for dollars, so we can print, and it doesn't mean anything. But now Saudi, does not want to renew. It says right here, the crucial decision to not renew the contract enables Saudi Arabia to sell oil and other goods in multiple currencies, including the Chinese RMB, euros, yen, and yuan, instead of exclusively in US dollars. So that's going to hurt.
Yes, it will. And as we know, all these wars all always come down to just money.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if Saudi's playing a game, because I also read that they're trying to get a new defense agreement. They want new weapons. So that might be just a reason for that. I mean, Trump will let them get away with this. Biden might.
Who knows?
It expired 9th of June. Yep, and was the cornerstone of the United States global economic dominance. It's really weird, though, because we all, like you said, we always go to war for money. So, like, why aren't we going to war for this? Why are they just letting it happen?
Give it time. It just happened a week ago.
Yeah. American officials at the time expressed optimism that the deal would motivate Saudi Arabia to ramp up its oil production. Oh,
Maybe-
and yeah,
I was gonna say maybe that's the plan to get oil prices down.
maybe. I know that after this, the Evelyn Rothschild Bank announced that they're entering Saudi Arabia. So there might be some other things going on in the background.
Wow. Cool.
BRICS would love this, that's for sure. It's just
definitely.
Yeah. And here's the guy in charge.
Yeah, this is really bad.
So Edward Snowden. The interesting thing about this clip is that he's not merely stumbling on a word or misspeaking, which is normal and happens to everybody. This is something different.
She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured. She knows so long as she was denied.
I don't even know what he's trying to say.
Secured. She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured.
You know, this is the kind of stuff that really pisses me off when people go, Trump's just as old and senile as Biden is, like that's some sort of victory. But you don't have Trump doing stuff like that. Yeah, he makes poor decisions on who he's taking interviews from.
Yeah, yeah, and he uses the same words over and over again.
Yeah,
his vocabulary is like 20 words.
I mean, this is just it can be secured. Like what?
But just to let you guys know, we are not for Biden or for Trump or for left or for right. We just would love if someone comes along that really just cares for this country
and
not grovel to foreign interests like they both do,
and financial interests.
Here's Joe Rogan.
Sums it up perfectly.
Yeah, he does.
Republicans won't be the solution either, kids. The problem is people in a position of power. The Republicans seem like they are your solution, but it's just because the people in power right now are the Democrats. Whenever the Democrats are out and the Republicans are in, everybody is dying for a Democrat.
Right.
I remember when Bush was president, after the second term, everybody's like, good Lord, can we get a fucking reasonable Democrat in here before this country goes Christian nationalist and goes crazy and starts every war?
Yeah.
And then Obama comes in like, things going to be great. But it kind of seems like kind of the same, and the whistleblower protection that he promised, actually probably like one of the worst on whistleblowers ever. Drone strikes, kind of a shitload of drone strikes.
Yeah.
The whole thing was bonkers. It's just the same structure with a different face. It's Bill Hicks's joke. Bill Hicks's joke about, I think the puppet on the left is to my liking. Well, I'm more aligned with the puppet on the right. Hey, there's one guy and he's holding both puppets.
That's a Bill Hicks joke.
Well, man, here's the problem.
Well, people get it though. Like I just see online both sides screaming at each other, and every time, and then when their guy comes in, they protect them no matter what, even if they're doing the exact same thing the guy before them did. I don't know. There's no way out of this because the people are just too brainwashed.
Yeah, I mean, the elites have designed it that way. So we're at each other's throats. I mean, that's what we've said in various episodes. It's not a left versus right thing. It's an up versus down thing. We're the down and the up is squashing us.
Yeah, exactly. We sit there and argue and kill each other. Well, they always win. Doesn't matter.
The house always wins. Yeah.
That's what I read somewhere that Russia, when after the fall of the Soviet Union, wanted to create a similar system of a left and a right in their parliament. It never happened, but the reason why is because they know it's easily controllable that way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here it is. So it did work. What didn't work was China. That's right. China copied DARPA's Manta.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they copied it.
Yeah.
Already, those bastards.
That's what they're good at.
So maybe that's why we don't show what we have, because then Chinese will do it next week.
And they'll do it for cheaper and not as well.
Yeah, exactly. So to go along with the whole World War III thing, U.S. is unprepared for attacks on critical infrastructure. That means what? Electrical grid, all that?
Everything. Yeah, they talk about the communications, financial services. Scroll up just a little bit.
Yeah, here it is. Oh.
financial services, healthcare, municipal services, energy, transportation, and water.
Oh my god!
So we get hit on multiple fronts, and they can win a war without stepping foot in the country.
Ransomware attacks, malware attacks on power grids, disruptions in transportation. I mean, why are they even connected to the internet? Like, we have enough money where they can be a private network, just not on the internet.
It's because everything in this country is built by the lowest bidder.
Yeah.
Because you've got the people who are actually know about cybersecurity and things like that. They say, yeah, we can do this for you, but it's gonna be $100 million. And then they go to AT&T, and AT&T says, we can get it done for $1.5 million.
Oh, you're so right. You're so right. Yeah, they leave it vulnerable for a reason. Money.
Yeah.
It's like the mafia.
Yeah. That sucks, man. What was I just thinking about this? There's something in there.
Was it here? Like everything with this.
Oh, no, I was going to bring up. Do you remember that it happened on Christmas a couple of years ago? That guy parked his van and blew it up outside of was it AT&T?
Oh, yeah, it was AT&T. Yeah.
Yeah, and they never really figured out what the hell that was about, did they?
Nope, they didn't. Or at least they didn't tell us.
That seems like it could have been just a test.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is Rand. Obviously, they're a defense contractors, so they're trying to scare the government into releasing a contract. So who's going to fix all this? I wonder.
Yeah.
Probably Rand.
Or BlackRock.
Knowing
the way this stupid country works.
Well, at least someone's looking into it, though.
Yeah.
They'll say, don't tell us we didn't warn you.
It's like Captain Hindsight. I don't know if you watch South Park or not, but there's a couple episodes.
I do, but I don't know Captain Hindsight.
There's this couple episodes where this guy shows up and his quote unquote superpower is being able to see things that should have happened before. So he shows up to a building that's on fire, and instead of saving everyone, he goes, "They should have built a better fire escape on that side of the building over there." And they go, "Oh, great, thank you, Captain Hindsight. That's amazing." And then just flies away.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh yes, you sent me this also. India's Nostradamus.
Yeah, I saw this article today. India's Nostradamus believes that we are going to begin a nuclear warfare, World War III, starting as early as tomorrow,
June
which
18th.
We're recording now, so it is technically tomorrow in India.
Oh God! So all right. So what is he predicts lots of things. What has he predicted before?
I didn't get too far into it, but he said he uses. I think it says at the top. But
it's a chart based in Hindu.
Yeah,
culture.
there it is.
The map of our karma.
He's in planetary and star alignment. He predicts the exact date of World War III is supposed to start Tuesday, June 18th. So by the time you hear this, hopefully you've downloaded the show and you can listen to it because you probably won't have Wi-Fi.
So yeah, he predicts world events: Israel, Hamas, Korea, China, Taiwan, Russia, and NATO. That's right. Putin just went to North Korea for the first time in 25 years or something.
Oh, that'll end well.
I know, right?
I don't know what the hell North Korea is going to, or I don't know what the hell Russia's going to get out of North Korea, but whatever.
Did you see also that NATO is readying 500,000 troops to go to Russia?
Yeah, you said
in Ukraine. That's so scary.
Or, I mean, how many times on this show have we talked about World War III happening within the next week or two? I mean, we've been saying it for weeks now. Honestly, man, at the end of the day, you know what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go to work.
Go to work. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Go in some meetings.
Sit in front of my computer, and then after that, I'm going to come home. And then the next day, I'm going to do it all over again.
Well, at least you got the podcast, and we got the game we're working on. So,
yeah,
there's those things. That will hopefully get us out of the rat race.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice. Well, we have some comedy here.
Oh, good. Yeah, this is great.
So I found this guy, Pete Holmes. I've never heard him before.
He was part of College Humor, I believe, which is we've played the dropout clips.
That's why he looks so familiar. Okay. Yeah. So he's one of the Batmans here. This guy's hilarious too. Can I make this bigger?
Whoa. Are you okay? Bruce! Bruce!
His face.
I'm cold. But gluten, you can't handle. Nobody touch me. Nobody touch me. Hey. You do this? What is that? Adrenaline. Straight from a bull's. No, I don't inject myself with bull dick every night before I go out. I'm in a bad car. Just cranking shot after shot. You gotta go, man.
Genius.
He if you want more of that kind of stuff, he did he had a show on YouTube called Badman, BEMAN, but it's that same Batman character where it's just over the top Batman, and it's just like, he redoes some of the scenes from the movies, and it's really funny.
Oh man, I was tearing. Okay, did you ever watch this Australian group? I thought that the ones that you sent me, but I saw them on TikTok, and they do like dad jokes, but they try to make each other laugh. It's definitely not dad jokes you tell your kids though, because a lot of them are raunchy and racist, but they're so funny. Have you seen them before?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, I'll send you their channel. It is. Sweet. I just sat there for an hour just going through clip after clip after clip, and it's like white Australians. There's an Indian Australian. There's an Asian Australian. Like, it's really, really funny. And they roast each other. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
I love the humor from Down Under. Those guys are great.
Yeah, they are hilarious. And then there's this one. Guy pranks his mom that we're being invaded by UFOs and aliens.
Oh no.
Yeah.
This critical message is by the emergency alert system.
The U.S. government has issued a national emergency for the continental United States. There have been multiple sightings of more than a dozen unidentified objects of
No way! No fucking way!
These unidentified suspended objects are around 1,400
You're
feet
fucking
long, stone-like.
No! You're fucking for real! No fucking.
You see the national emergency alert? Fucking
on the phone.
Oh my God, Florida's one of the danger zone rating map. Put CNN on national emergency government. Would you videotape that? If you win this,
This is cruel.
contact the national emergency.
Oh fuck, we're being invaded.
UFO description: 1,400 feet long, stone-like material. What the fuck is this?
Oh my God.
Is this CNN for real?
I don't know. Read the title. I'll read the fucking title. Read the title.
You got me, motherfucker. I thought it was for real.
We all prank our moms.
We do. I don't think I could go to that length though.
Yeah, that's too much.
That's like heart attack material.
Yeah, because the problem with that is that no one's gonna believe you ever again.
Right.
But he must do it to his mom all the time.
I'm sure.
Right. Those pranksters. So that's the show. Oh, we hit 2 hours.
Well, we want to thank you all so much for listening to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. Happy beginning of your week. Hope you all had a great Father's Day, including you, cuz.
Yeah, thank you. It was nice. I chilled.
Good. We all need a good chill day.
Yes.
Isn't that what Father's Day and Mother's Days are supposed to be? Like, you take, like, when it's Father's Day, the wife takes the kids and leaves you alone for the whole day.
Yes, and no chores.
Right.
Yeah.
And same
for once, my daughter was like waiting on me. I was like, wow, look at this. I didn't even ask for that.
Well.
I know, right?
There's how you should prank her. Just tell her every day is Father's Day.
Well, there's different dates around the world.
Yeah,
so I can just that. Yeah, I think there's an international.
It's Australian
one.
Father's Day.
Yeah,
Brazilian Father's Day.
That's how I can do it. But I guess if tomorrow's the end of the world, I mean, not end of the world, World War III, then I better get this episode up tonight.
Oh, good luck, man. This is good. We covered a lot of information. There's a lot of philosophical stuff in there, which I always enjoy.
Yeah.
And I have a need to know, Adam, and you're going to tell everybody out there where they can find us on social media.
You guys hit us up on X, which is formerly Twitter. We're at UAP the podcast. If you have any information you want us to cover, any news, just tag us, follow us over there, have a conversation with us. My personal account is at Breakaway Civil, and Topher is at Topher It's All. So follow us over there. Go to YouTube, please. I know a lot of you watch us on Rumble and BitChute. YouTube has been, well, especially the last one, it did pretty well. But still, it's not where it's supposed to be, especially with all the content we have, over 70 episodes. People are finding us also organically. So I think 50% of our listeners or watchers or viewers are not subscribed. So it'd be great if you guys can get over there, subscribe,
and tell a friend about the show.
Yeah, tell a friend about the show. We're pretty much constantly here every single week doing 2 hours. It's a great UAP news roundup of what's happening in the UFO world, and we cover high technology, philosophical things, World War III, politics, because it's all connected, really.
It all is.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, you follow us on X, YouTube, Rumble. We're on there also. BitChute, we're on there. We're in Odyssey, and we're on all podcasting platforms. Yeah, share the show with your friends. Support us. There's a support link too, so you can support us for as much as you want.
Tell you what, if you give us $1 million a month, you can rename our show to whatever you want.
Well, yeah, then they own the show at that money.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
and we'll sell. We'll sell out too. We'll talk about anything you want us to talk about.
Yeah, and you can be a guest whenever you want too.
Yeah, we call it the Uncovering Billy podcast or whatever your name is.
UAP sells out.
Yeah,
yeah. No thanks to you. That'll be the byline.
There we go. And I, of course, I have a need to know Adam. And
nice to meet you, Adam.
It's been so great talking to you, cuz this has been episode 76. And in case you were wondering, it's June 17th today.
Yes, June 17th. Always a blast, cuz.
Now I need to shut my peepers because I'm falling asleep here.
All right. Yeah, it's getting late.
Past my bedtime.
See you all next week.
Bye.